A cowardly enemy, indifferent to every principle of humanity, human dignity, and international law, carried out a brutal attack on Monday evening at 9 p.m. Helpless individuals, who had recovered from the suffering of addiction and were preparing to return to the embrace of their families, were consumed in indiscriminate aerial bombardment by fighter jets.
During the blessed month of Ramadan, a brutal attack was carried out by the Pakistani military regime against civilians. As you can see, our fellow citizens have been affected here. Regarding the casualties, it can be said that approximately 400 bodies of martyrs have been found, all of whom were civilians. There is not a single person among them who was military. Around 250 people have also been injured, and officials of the Islamic Emirate and the Ministry of Interior are working on the matter.
Among the wounded, most are in critical condition. Those with severe injuries have been transferred to intensive care units. Others with minor or moderate injuries are being treated in hospital wards, and medical care is ongoing for them.
It was a moment when they had just returned from Tarawih prayers and had gone back to their rooms to rest. This place was a center for treatment, a sanctuary of hope, and a space where life was meant to begin again. Suddenly, it turned into a field of bloodshed by the brutal airstrike of the Pakistani military regime.
I came out of the mosque after Tarawih prayers, and was heading to my room when the fighting started. I told my friends, asking what was happening. They said it might be celebration for Eid, but when we looked, an aircraft was flying very low near the road.
We came out after performing Tarawih prayers. May God accept them. We went to our room to rest when suddenly there was a loud explosion. It was very terrifying. Many people ran outside. I was still inside the room. When the second explosion happened, I also rushed out and saw many martyrs lying at the doorway and along the road.
مریضی شدم تمام زندگیم تباه شد از همه ابعاد میایه برای ما ضرر می داشته باشه درود بر پیامبر صلی الله علیه و آله و سلم
Those who had been struggling to live fell into the merciless sleep of death. Dreams that had not yet been fulfilled were buried beneath the earth. The buds of hope, still waiting to bloom, withered and disappeared. Hearts that once beat with the desire to live fell silent and stopped. But this was not just a heartbreaking tragedy, it was a disgraceful assault on humanity itself. It was the killing of living hopes, a war against life, and a darkness cast over a future that was still waiting for light.
These addicts are part of our nation. They are a vulnerable group. They have families, homes, and children. For this reason, the Islamic Emirate showed compassion. The Amir al-Mu'minin, may Allah protect him, ordered that they be gathered from under bridges, gardens, streets, and other places and brought here, where they receive treatment for addiction. After recovery, they are returned to their families. It is possible that on the 28th, many of them have recovered and were being discharged and handed back to their families. Unfortunately, This cruel Pakistani military bombed them last night. However, their oppression is even worse than that of Zionists. Just as hospitals are targeted there, hospitals are bombed here as well. Just as schools are targeted there, the same is happening here.
Unfortunately, in this health center, most of those targeted were patients undergoing treatment for addiction. Many of them had completed several stages of treatment and were in the final phases, yet they lost their lives.
There was a time when, under the shadow of Puli Sokta in Kabul, hundreds of people were trapped day and night in the chains of drug addiction. They were not just addicts, but broken human beings, carrying the shattered hopes of families, the tears of mothers, and the dreams of children. Their presence had darkened the atmosphere of the city and become a heavy burden on society, and no one knew when this darkness would come to an end. But time changed. The Islamic Emirate once again took control of Afghanistan, entered the heart of Kabul, and raised its flag of authority. At that moment, a new chapter began to bring an end to this darkness. These individuals were gathered from the bleak environment of Puli Sokta, not only from Kabul, but from different provinces and regions of the country. They were taken to hospitals and treatment centers so that, after recovery, they could once again step onto the path of life. The buds of hope slowly began to bloom, and it seemed as though life was inviting them once again. But this happiness did not last long. In the end, all of this was reduced to ashes as a result of a cowardly attack by the brutal Pakistani military regime. And the hopes of 400 individuals who had recovered from addiction were drenched in blood. History will never forget this aggression by the Pakistani military regime.
The absolute majority are civilians. Whether they are in their homes, in the villages, or in the districts, they are all civilians. These are also part of this oppressed nation. What I can say is that Allah, the Lord of the worlds, and the Messenger of Allah have said that Allah Almighty Himself takes revenge for the oppressed. Quranic verse. Even if it is after some time, I hope that Allah Almighty will take revenge on them through the Ababil.
This brutal attack by the Pakistani military regime against civilians is against all the principles of Islamic ethics. We call on the international community to condemn and denounce it so that they realize that the Islamic Emirate, God willing, will in the future try to take its revenge according to the guidance of its leadership. God willing, retaliatory attacks will be carried out so that it becomes a lesson for them and so that they do not repeat such actions in the future. However, I would like to mention that the Islamic Emirate has always tried to give priority to dialogue and diplomacy. As a result of these conflicts, it was seen that 3 of their military personnel, officers who were officially captured in the fighting, were handed back to them by us as a gesture of goodwill and humane treatment, meaning that after they received their personnel, they started their operations. Until now, as you and the media are aware, all the operations carried out have targeted civilians. This brutality they have committed is extremely severe, and all the victims are ordinary individuals and non-military people.